So I wanted to talk about artists, but also this video is probably going to come out during a weird time, so I'll talk about the main topic for today's video as we go through the run. Oh my goodness, that's loud. Why does the game do that to me? Although we're on an Eldritch Parasite run, so you got that Eldritch Parasite, eh? And then we see what happens. I'm going to do this in the back, and we will move on. So now that I've rolled the quick play, I don't want to redo it. I wonder if that's going to sound as loud as it will. Maybe Future Jordan has to do some treatment to the video afterward. By the way, we're supposed to be moving on here. And yeah, Yoggothag, Eldritch Parasite. I can't see the perk pack, so I guess we'll find out later. Oh, no, we can. Hospital staff pushing yourself. So, main character perk, well, I call pushing yourself the main character perk pack, or just a significant character perk pack, and then hospital staff for first aid and anatomy class, question mark? But as we actually get into Yoggothag, Eldritch Parasite, character exclusive random item, 2 custom mystery, custom character. And just to go over this really quick, wanted to talk about artists, and art in general. Making art. 4 strength, 3 dexterity, 5 perception, 4 knowledge, 6 charisma. Although we're on an Eldritch Parasite run. If we weren't, I would go for ally attack here. Definitely with charisma in the lighthouse. Although seeing a stat that you want to build into at the lighthouse shouldn't be the biggest weight. In fact, it's probably like second to last. But dexterity, knowledge, second encounter, second mystery, charisma. Dakshisan. And away we go. But yeah, on the topic of art, so it's a process. I'm sure people have seen people who are an artist grow or evolve their art form, in months, in a span of a year, 2 years, several years, depending on projects that a person may or may not be doing. I'm talking about many different people, and so some of what I say may apply to people that you may know, whether they're celebrities, content creators, streamers, so on and so forth. Nails, foot. Oh, we have to do the 2 on the side here, by the way. We'll let go of Labyrinth, although Labyrinth is here. And then we have Recluse. So Recluse, Labyrinth, Frogs, footage, Nails. So Labyrinth does have a forced boss. We also have Recluse, and we have Nails. So we're taking Nails now. And away we go. Keeping in mind that if I play a custom mystery, it will replace whatever base mystery, or I can't play the base mystery that it is covering. So yeah, we're still going to prepare for fun. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. But yeah, to me, the process of trying to get better at making art, usually for me, I just end up making a face. So really, the outline of a face, I bisect the face in the middle and vertically and horizontally, and then start working on eyes. Usually, I work on the eyes. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but I tend to focus on the eyes immediately after making a face. We're just gonna stick with Ghostly Spear and move on. By the way, police station downtown because of Labyrinth, and also because of other stuff. And away we go. But yeah, I start on the eyes, and then I work downward before I make the hair. I don't know what the exact reason for it is. I think a lot of it is that I want to make sure that whatever facial features I put on a face, essentially, is not going to interfere with what I make for the hair. Although, in my case, usually, especially if I'm working with layers, I have the hair is going to not be colored over the face, but the outlines of the tips of the hair, or the outline of the hair, will still go over facial features. But usually, now that I work with layers, because I use GIMP as my main image software, making images and whatnot, whether it's design or actually just drawing, then yeah, obviously I would like to, that's free out, huh? I would like to actually draw myself with my hand onto a screen of some sort. I know that gives you a lot of control. For me, from what I hear and from what I see, it gives an artist more control over what's happening. So I understand why it's used. Also, Ghostly Spear. But we can brace, but I think I want a Ghostly Spear. If I'm going to brace, I might as well Ghostly Spear. Actually, that's not true. Because if we're going to do some damage here, we might as well brace into a kick. I think that's the thought process. And so what I mean to say is, yes, I am working with a mouse when I am quote-unquote drawing. Now, obviously, with more, I don't want to say sophisticated, but with more control. Oh my goodness, this is not going to work out, is it? I have to kick again. Brace kick again. I could have handcuffed, but What was I trying to say? Art stuff? Art stuff. Oh, I'm just gonna... do I dare? No, because if I improvise, I do a thing. Can I even do... I can, that's right, because they're not affected by my stats. So we're gonna go for the this relative 73.2%, 3 kicks at 90%, which happened to work out. Okay, I can be less focused now, but... I think, yeah, that was my first encounter. Trying to remember things, but... Yeah, I'm using a mouse, and so there are line tools where you can make a line and then curve that line, add in nodes in between, and essentially make a line as sophisticated as you want. But it would be better to just it would be oh no, we'll take recluse now. It would be better to draw with my own hand, but that's not what I have. And so what I end up doing is, I draw. When I'm outlining a character, yes. While the mouse does not give me full control over what I would like to actually draw in my mind, I can still make adjustments. Again, overall it takes me longer to draw things, and I'm talking about specifically the head of a character, but this could be other things, whether it's a background, whether it's scenery, whether it's an object, or something very small like maybe an avatar, pixel art, so on and so forth. It does take me longer because I don't have, like, if I were to draw right now, trying to draw a perfect circle probably wouldn't work out as well, but... Again, overall, the end result is that it just takes longer for me to make the things I want to make, image-wise. So, as for the actual learning process and actually trying to grow as an artist, if that makes any sense, I wouldn't say exactly grow, or in my case, it's more learning how other people are drawing, because you don't have to be an artist to draw. If you draw as a hobby or as a job, or you just decide to make a piece of artwork, then I feel you can pick up things from what other people try to do. And so, for example, things are like, hey, if I want to draw this style of hair, on top of just... There's a bunch of free art there, especially even for artists who work on things. There are samples and you can learn from their styles. And for how I like to think of it... Oh my goodness, the stumbling on my words. How I like to think of it is, at the bare minimum, that's right, hospital staff is not going to help because we can't heal. So we'll take knowledge instead. I'll take strength, funny enough. And off we go. We do have a charisma check, but if we get leadership, then we'll double up, is the plan. I might not be able to, though. But, so, what I wanted to say is, the example is, so someone makes, bangs that go in between the eyes. So how do they like to do that? Do they like to make just one big mass of hair? Or do they try to draw singular strands? This is a very simplified example, but it's one I've run into before. Whether the tips of said hair are jagged, oh, nice 12 roll by the way, Gabe. Whether the width of the tips of a hair are 2 pixels long, 3 pixels long, are they in the shape of a triangle? Sometimes they're even in the shape of very small circles. There's a vampire princess here, by the way. I mean, we can use enemies in World of Horror as an example too. So, in this case, there are no bangs in between, but you can still kind of see, for example, if this were one piece of art, or if this is one of many types of artwork by an artist, and you look through each character, do they like to usually make a bang, side bangs that have one curve? Sometimes some artists like to have 2 curves, so it's very wavy in that sort. But still, the hair can be straight, can be wavy, so on and so forth. In this case, again, 1 curve for here, and obviously you can switch it up every now and then. You're not always going to draw the same design, or you're not going to draw the same style on the same character, especially if you're experimenting, but I think you get the point by now. Small little traits that happen in between the character, especially if an artist, I was about to say if I missed 2 out of 3 there, especially if an artist, from what I see, whenever an artist puts up artwork, or someone puts up artwork and they're like, oh, I just wanted to draw for fun, their style is a lot more apparent than when they're trying for something different and maybe experimenting, or just trying for something different. Again, a whole host of things can happen. Oh my goodness, my reason, by the way. But yeah. Or we can even use this character, but again, these are small things. And I'm only talking about one very specific part of a character in general, which is the hair. We could look at the eyes, we could look at, in the case of World of Horror, how dithering effects are used, which dithering patterns are used. As I run into this, that's right. I think we just take this in the face, but I'm gonna brace first just to go for it. And yeah, 5 strength so that I can guarantee a kick after bracing. But in my case specifically, if you've seen the characters that I make, usually I like to use a very specific dither pattern. It's really just a 1-pixel checkerboard pattern. I don't usually use other types. I have, but it's not as varied if you go and take a look at the characters I've made for World of Horror specifically. But just in general, yeah, even if I were to make anything else, I would probably usually default to the 1-pixel checkerboard pattern of dithering. Yeah, and that's really all I have to say. Do I want to gamble here? -3 all? No, I don't. I really don't. Especially since we have stamina to burn. Why did I stumble there? But anywho, let's get out. And yeah, that's a bit more appropriate of a boss that I have to kick and ghostly spear. That boss takes a lot of ghostly spears, but anywho. Will we survive till the end though? We have 2 mysteries left and a whole lot of wishing. We will take charisma because we have a charisma check and our reason looks a bit low. No bath. And away we go. Footage or frogs? I'd rather do footage. I think frogs were in the town the whole time, so let's get this out of the way. If we need to, I mean, on an Eldritch Parasite run, again, just to talk about World of Horror for a bit. On an Eldritch Parasite run, I've said this before, but stamina can be something to worry about, depending on how, on top of event RNG, how many stamina checks you have at the lighthouse. Because if you had to go through every single lighthouse check, you would be losing more stamina than you would reason, and then numerically you lose more doom, but stamina is a very high concern. High concern? Anywho. That, on top of me not remembering these events, I really should start remembering more events, but I think the only one I've really remembered is that one event with 3 choices, and I take the left one, and it's a free out. I don't even remember what the event looked like, because there's so much in my head. But anywho, we'll trade off 2 funds here. There's something I can trade off, and I know I can trade off. But as for everything else, oh goodness, it's getting late for me. But yeah, as for everything else, it's usually not. But as I said before, my health, for the sake of my health, I've been trying to fix my sleeping schedule. But I'm gonna take this damage quickly because either way, I'll probably ghostly spear down to where I can do double kicks. Because yeah, with 2 more ghostly spears, I can do 4 damage worth of kicks guaranteed. Thankfully, I have not hit my stamina cap yet, but we're getting closer. And yeah, the lump of flesh doesn't do anything. I might be able to sell it, but I don't think I can do much else. Also, did we have a curse that I could get rid of? No, because traumatized affects my max stamina, and I have like 30 plus max stamina. But we can sell the lump of flesh for funds. It will still serve a purpose. But yeah, so if you ever see me practicing art, if I ever do an art stream, it will literally just be me trying to draw human beings. Maybe a chibi form of a chibi anime form. I usually lean towards anime-ish artwork, but if I'm feeling particularly frisky, or if you've seen one of the games I'm making, it's more, I feel like it's more westernized in that specific instance. But anywho, call the waitress over, lose reason. I'm a bit more willing to lose reason because I know I have the charisma check down. And I don't remember if I have the light source, but either way, oh my goodness, 5 doom to the face, what are you doing to me? But let me blow my nose. Thanks for the no to reason. That's the fault of Eldritch Parasite and not the thingy-majiggy. But anywho. Although I do think it's a common thought. If someone, what's the way I want to say this, that makes the most sense to what I want to say. We'll also pick that up in the meanwhile. This energy drink is gonna do nothing. Although maybe we can sell it for funds. Yeah, I would actually. No, cigarettes are useless. Never mind. I lied to myself. But anywho. For all intents and purposes, I should actually visit the monument because I did forget my second encounter. Unfortunately, it did not ask for funds, but we can keep visiting it until we don't feel like it anymore, and I don't feel like it anymore, so away we go. But basically what I want to say is something along the lines of, I imagine people want to, if someone had the ability to be able to draw art or make art, I feel like most people would. But I mean, that's the same can be true for a lot of not skill-based things, but a lot of things that you can learn in life. But I imagine being able to make art, whether it's drawing, whether it's sculpting, so on and so forth. Yeah, I imagine people would want to have that as a skill, if for no other reason than a hobby or something to do to kind of not cool it off, but to have fun, relax. What's the way I want to say that? Have fun or relax, I think is the most appropriate. But anywho. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, either way. We just ascend this lighthouse. We should be okay no matter what. But anywho. That's all this video. That's all I wanted to say in this video, which, I mean, is important. And if for no other reason than for me to kind of think to myself on how I want to proceed forward with game dev stuff or other things. But let me see here. I'm just going to guess the Vampire Princess. I really don't remember. Really? That wasn't my... That must have been close to at least my first 4 to 5 enemies. But anywho. Oh, never mind, Recluse. It was the roommate. I'm pretty sure it was the roommate. And if it wasn't, well, I guess future Jordan can find out. But, anywho, as we run into Takshi-san here, and he gets impaled with a lot of ghostly spears, he'll be okay, as long as the world gets saved. In fact, we'll even do one more ghostly spear. How much do I have? I had a lot of ghostly spears, or maybe a few left, maybe one left. But anywho, as we get through that, again, as always, let me know if you want me to play certain custom content or play certain custom content more, as OBS freezes for me on the moment. But yeah, I won't take up much more of your time. If you want to support me, feel free to do so, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you for watching. Bye!